dear students. How are you all? Are you all safe? Have you studied your first unit? Okay, let's begin the second unit. And the name of our second unit is Bonds of Love. Do you have any idea about the themes of this unit? Okay, the main themes of this unit is values and attitudes. So the name of our second unit is Bonds of Love, and the main themes are values and attitudes. Okay, before entering into the first chapter, I want to show you some pictures. Look at these pictures. These pictures depicts the dangers of war, isn't it? Let's look. What are the dangers of a war? War has a catastrophic effect on the health and well-being of nations. Studies have shown that conflict situations cause more mortality and disability than any major disease. War destroys communities and families and often disrupts the development of the social and economic fabric of nations. So, now you are all aware about the dangers of war, isn't it? Yes. Before entering into the first chapter, let me ask you a small question. Whom do you love most? Your father or your mother? Yes, I know all of you have your answers in your mind. So the name of our first chapter is Maternity. And the author of Maternity is Lilika Nakos. So the first chapter is Maternity, written by Lilika Nakos. Maternity, written by Lilika Nakos. Do you know the meaning of maternity? Yes, maternity means motherhood. Who is our author? Lilika Nakos. Let's look about Lilika Nakos in detail. Lilika Nakos was born on 1903. She was a Greek novelist, journalist, and short story writer. She was one of the first women writers of modern Greek prose and for many years the only woman in Greek journalism. She is best remembered for her story collection titled Children's Inferno, Stories of the Great Famine in Greece. One of her best known novels is Lost Soul. She died on 1989. Let's look the overall idea of this chapter. Maternity, written by Lilika Nakos, is an anecdote which highlights racism that renders people inhuman. It also tells us that motherhood is quite distinct from mere motherhood. Let's look the overall idea of the first two paragraphs. The Armenian refugees were at Marseilles more than a month, and the camp on the outskirts looked like a small village. The richest were under tents and others in ruined sheds. Majority of them were sheltered under carpets held up at the four corners by sticks. Since the men found work, the refugees had food to eat. However, all other things were miserable. I hope all of you got some idea about the first two paragraphs. Now, my dear students, take your textbook and read the first two paragraphs thoroughly and mark the unfamiliar words. So these are the words you have noted down. The first word, refugee. R-E-F-U-G-E-E. Next word, outskirts. O-U-T-S-K-I-R-T-S. Next word, ruined. R-U-I-N-E-D. Next word, carpet. C-A-R-P-E-T. And the last word, rack. R-A-C-K. So, let's look out the meanings of these words in detail. Look at this picture. From this picture, we can understand that they are forced to leave their country in order to escape from some disasters, isn't it? So, refugee means a person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. Next word, outskirts. Look at this picture. From this picture, we can see the overall portion of a town or a city, isn't it? So, outskirts means the outer parts of a town or city. The next word, ruined. In this picture, we can see that this building has almost damaged. So, ruined means having been irreparably damaged or harmed. Now, the next word, carpet. You are all familiar with carpet, isn't it? Yes, carpet means a floor covering made from thick woven fabric. Now, the next word, rack. Rack means cause extreme pain, anguish, or distress to. I hope all of you got the meanings of these words. Now, I am going to give you a small activity. You have to find out the antonyms of the following words. So, these are the words. You have to find the antonyms of the following words. First one, town. The antonym of town is village. Next word, small. Antonym of small is big. The next word, luck. Antonym of luck is unluck. And the last word, rich. Antonym of rich is poor. Now, I am going to give you a model reading of the first two paragraphs. Everybody, please listen. Maternity, written by Lilika Nekos. It was more than a month since they were at Marseilles, the camp of Armenian refugees on the outskirts of the town already looked like a small village. They had settled down in any way they could. The richest under tents, the others in the ruined sheds. But the majority of the refugees, having found nothing better, were sheltered under carpets held up at the four corners by sticks. They thought themselves lucky if they could find a sheet to hang up at the sides and hold them from peering eyes. Then they felt almost at home. The men found work, no matter what, so that in any case they were not racked with hunger and the children had something to eat. My dear students, I will read the first two paragraphs once more for you. Read it along with me. Maternity, written by Lilika Nekos. It was more than a month since they were at Marseilles, the camp of Armenian refugees on the outskirts of the town already looked like a small village. They had settled down in any way they could, the richest under tents, the others in the ruined sheds, but the majority of the refugees, having found nothing better, were sheltered under carpets held up at the four corners by sticks. They thought themselves lucky if they could find a sheet to hang up at the sides and hold them from peering eyes. Then they felt almost at home. The men found work, no matter what, so that in any case they were not racked with hunger and their children had something to eat. So, my dear students, now I am going to ask you some questions. It will give you more idea about today's lesson. So, my first question, how did the Armenian refugees settled? Yes, the richest were under tents. Others were in ruined sheds. Majority of them sheltered under carpets held up at four corners by sticks. Next question, describe the life of refugees in the camp. Yes, since the men found work, they had food to eat. But all other things were miserable in the camp. So, my dear students, let's study something new. A structural item from this lesson, noun forms. What do you mean by a noun? Yes, noun is a word used to identify any of a class of people, places or things, or to name a particular one. For example, Meera, London, and the name of any animal, lion, tiger, etc. are all nouns. So, what do you mean by noun? Noun is a word used to identify any of a class of people, places or things, or to name a particular one. So, my dear students, now you have to find out some more examples for noun forms from this lesson. So, my dear students, now I am going to give you an activity. You have to prepare 2 placards that is to be exhibited in the anti-war campaign conducted at your school. So these are my instructions to prepare the placard. It should be in a box and the shape of the box should be like a placard. Okay, and all the letters should be in capital. Avoid spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, etc. and make it more attractive. Okay, now I will present 2 examples for the placards. Look it out. So this is my version. My first placard. War is painful, peace is joyful. Goodbye to war, welcome to peace. So what all things we have studied today? The name of our second unit is Bonds of Love, and the main themes are values and attitudes. What is the name of our first chapter? Yes, Maternity. Who is the author? Lilika Nekos. We all know Lilika Nekos is a Greek writer. What all other things we have seen today? Yes, from the first 2 paragraphs, we can see that there are so many Armenian refugees settled in the outskirts of Marseilles. The richest are under tents, others in the ruined sheds, and majority of them were sheltered under carpets held up at 4 corners by sticks. Since the men found work, they had food to eat, but all other things were very miserable. I hope all of you have thorough idea about the first 2 paragraphs. Okay, now you have a homework. You have to prepare an essay. And the topic is war and its after So the topic of the essay is war and its after effects. Prepare it and bring it tomorrow. Okay? See you in the next class. Thank you.